Ken Trahan, Lenny Vangilder of SportsNOLA.com for the weekend of Week 5 in the NFL. The Saints have won 3 straight, coming off of a win at Jacksonville. Tougher test this week, Lenny, at Charlotte against Carolina. Although they're 1-3, their offense is ranked 3rd in the league.
And the Saints are ranked 2nd, so this promises to be an offensive kind of game. And, these two teams have played very similar schedules. They've each played 4 games, but they've got 3 common opponents already in this young season: Green Bay, Chicago, and Jacksonville. So you can get a pretty good feel in terms of what's going on. Interestingly, and of course we'll get into Cam Newton, but the one game that the Panthers won, granted it was in a rainstorm against Jacksonville, but that is the one game that Cam Newton did not have a big passing game. He's put up huge passing numbers in their 3 losses.
Well, the game at Jacksonville was in a quagmire, so that was totally understandable. I guess the biggest thing is that Cam Newton has proven that he can do what he did in college at the pro level. He's running the ball effectively, but more importantly, he's thrown the ball well, and he's shown a degree of accuracy that some people did not feel he had.
It's just going with the trend right now in the NFL. Here's a remarkable stat. The New York Times has got a great story this morning about how the offenses have just been remarkable through the first 4 weeks of the season. Drew Brees and Sean Payton's first year here was 2006. In that entire 2006 season, there were 65 300-yard passing games, so about an average of 4 per week. In the first 4 weeks of the 2011 season, there have already been 44 300-yard passing games. Just extraordinary numbers. Drew Brees and Cam Newton have a lot to do with that. Newton already with 2 400-yard passing games in just a 4-game NFL career.
Keep an eye on Olin Kreutz and see if he's able to go in this game. The Saints got Tracy Porter back, of course, and Jonathan Vilma back. And Vilma's been limited this week, but he'll play. Kreutz, that remains a big question mark. Brian De La Puente would play if he does not. As for the Saints, last week they piled up over 500 yards, just didn't finish drives. Got to be able to do that. And, of course, John Fox gone to Carolina. Rivera's in. It's a different situation altogether in preparing for this team.
Exactly. And the one thing that I'm sure the Saints are emphasizing in their offensive meeting room this week is exactly what you said, finishing drives. They ended up trying 5 field goals in that game, made 3 of them. 2 of them were from farther out and, beyond 50 yards, and 2 misses by Casey. But they have to be able to get 7 when they get down in the red zone and not 3, much like what the Saints defense was able to keep from happening 2 weeks ago in that Houston game. That is ultimately the reason the Saints won that game. You have those kind of performances where you don't finish in the red zone, it's going to come back to bite you at some point.
Well, the Saints want to throw the ball, we know that, but they should want to run the ball against Carolina, who's right at the bottom of the league against the run, and of course missing 2 key linebackers in Davis and Beeson.
Exactly. Look what Matt Forte did last week, 205 yards rushing for the former Tulane star against that Carolina defense. So you would have to think we will see a nice dose of the 3-headed monster of Ingram, Thomas, and Sproles come Sunday.
Yep, the law firm will be back at it. And as far as a prediction, Saints will win the game by, I'd say 10.
I'm going to call it a 1-score game if for no other reason that I think the Saints will get a lead, and then you'll see Carolina maybe put up some late points, and it might end up being a 1-score game in that regard. But I don't think the Saints will be in jeopardy of losing.
The Road Warriors, they won 15 of the last 20 on the road, and we think they'll do it again. Hope you enjoy the game. Follow full coverage at SportsNOLA.com. For Lenny Vangilder, I'm Ken Trahan.